Hello, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining today's webinar. In today's webinar, we're going to be talking about how to file VAT returns here in Odoo. Now, my name is Basil, and I'm a business advisor here at Odoo. I work here in the Dubai regional office, and my email is bakh@odoo.com. So at any time, if you have any questions or concerns during the webinar, feel free to reach out directly and ask me any questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer the questions. Now with VAT season, it's very important that you file your VAT on Odoo, and this webinar is going to be focused on how to do that very, very easily in a few steps. So we have some upcoming webinars. We have the how to run a successful retail and e-commerce business on April 6th, and on April 20th, we have the how to run a successful trading business. Now, I totally recommend joining these webinars. It's going to be very informative, and it gives you an opportunity to meet other Odooers and tap into their software expertise. Now, let's begin. So the itinerary for today is as such. We are going to do the understanding VAT in Odoo, and then we'll talk about how to settle your VAT, how to set up your VAT accounts, and then how to actually view the VAT reports so that you can see if you owe the government money or if you can claim VAT back for VAT that you've overpaid. And we will be discussing something called lock dates in Odoo, what lock dates are, and what happens if you create any entries after you've closed a certain VAT period. So number one, understanding VATs in Odoo. So we have our invoices and we have our vendor bills. Now with invoices, we create a sales order on Odoo. Maybe we sold a camera, and this camera costs 100 dirhams. Now, when we create the invoice, it's going to show as 105, so we'll have the 100 dirhams for the actual product. This is booked into our income account, and then we have the 5 dirham VAT that's going to be booked into the tax received account. And on the other side, for vendor bills, let's say you want to purchase a camera from a supplier, we will have a camera that's costs 100 dirhams. That 100 dirhams will be booked into your payables account, and then you have the actual VAT for that camera that we paid for, and this will be booked in the VAT payables account. So it's very important to understand the income VAT and the VAT on the vendor bills. The reason being is we're going to be using it later to actually file our VAT. So on number two, how to settle your VAT. When we have our tax receivable account and our tax payable account, we simply just summarize the two, and we'll either get a positive or a negative number. A positive number means that we owe that VAT to the government, and a negative number means that you have some VAT that you can claim to get back. Now, let's do all of this in Odoo. So the first thing is setting up our VAT accounts. So if we go into our demo database here, we will click into accounting. We will go into the configuration and settings. Now from here, we have something called the tax return periodicity. Now this is basically how often you want to file VAT. We can file it on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, yearly basis. You can set that up here. And in this case, we're going to set it up as a quarterly basis. Now we have our VAT reminder, and this will remind you X amount of days before the filing actually needs to be done. So this is a very useful feature here in Odoo. And then we set up our journal. So the journal should be the tax adjustment. Now once we set that up, we will click on configure your tax accounts. Now in the configure tax accounts, here we have our tax groups, and we have all the taxes. So we have the taxes, VAT 5%, the VAT exempted, and the VAT 0%. Now we have a tax payable account, and we have a VAT tax receivable account. We need to be able to set these up because by default they might be empty. So in the VAT payables account, we set it up for all the groups, and the tax receivable account, we also set it up for all the groups. Now in terms of, let's go back to the settings. Once we're done the tax accounts, make sure everything's good. We are ready to actually start our VAT in Odoo. Now we will go into our accounting, we go back to our dashboard, and I'm going to go into the sales module. Now in the sales module, I'm just going to create a sales order so that we can confirm an invoice. For example, I'll put the customer is furniture supplier, add a product, put a chair. Maybe we're going to be purchasing 10 products selling 10 products at 100 dirhams, and we will confirm the quotation to an actual sales order. Now let's create the actual invoice. Click on create in view, and we will actually confirm this draft invoice into a confirmed invoice. And now it's been posted into our accounting. Now on the other side, let's go into our purchasing and create a vendor bill. So we'll create a purchase order. We'll select the supplier, Furniture Supplier LLC, and we will add a product that we'd like to purchase. The quantity, for example, as 20, and the unit price 80. And here we're going to be paying 80 dirhams VAT. We will confirm this RFQ into an actual purchase order and click on Create Bill. Now once we've created the bill, select the bill date and confirm it from draft to an actual confirmed vendor bill. So now we've posted the vendor bill to our accounting. We are ready to actually file our VAT. So we'll go into our accounting. We will select on reporting and we will click tax report. Now when we click tax report, on the top left, we can see the different periods. We will select this quarter so that we can file the VAT for this quarter that we're in. And we will see everything related to our VAT filing. It will show us how much income we made in that period, how much we've purchased, and the VATs paid in the receivables and the payables. Now, once we actually want to create the VAT filing, we will click on Closing Entry, and this will create a draft report. On the draft report, we can see our VAT input account, our VAT output account, and the VAT receivables account. So we double check the accounting date. This makes this date corresponds with the current quarter that we're trying to close. The journal is the tax adjustments, which we set up initially in our settings. And the reference is tax return for Q1, for example. Simply click on Post, and now we posted it from a draft into an actual tax report. Just give it a second, and done. So on the right side, we have the actual PDF file, and this shows us our VAT report. And we can actually just go to the logger at the bottom and also download it from here. So this is the tax report. It shows us the total balance. And if we scroll down, this is the most important one, the net VAT due. So this is negative 220, meaning that we can claim from the government 220 dirhams. So once you filed it, we can simply mark as done, be like marked finished the VAT filing. And we mark this activity as done. So here we need to discuss something called lock dates. So in the situation that you filed your VAT, you don't want anyone in the system to be able to create an invoice or a vendor bill and create entries within that period that we just closed. So with Odoo, we have something called a lock date, and once you file your VAT, Odoo will automatically set the lock date to the period that you just closed, and this will prevent any entries from affecting the current period that we just closed. So if we go to reporting, or correction, go to accounting and select lock dates, we can see that the tax return lock date has now been set for March 31st, 2023, because we just closed that quarter. Now, if we try to go and create any invoice, so I'll just go into the sales, I'll create a new sales order, and I will select, for example, chair. Let's sell 10 at a price of 50 and confirm. Now, if we click on Create Invoice, Create in View, you're going to see a warning sign on the top. It says the date is being set prior to the tax lock date. The journal entry will be accounted on 03/23/2023 upon posting. So this will prevent this invoice to be affecting the tax date that we just closed. So that essentially brings us to how to file VAT on Odoo. Just to summarize, we set up our VAT accounts. We created a VAT report, and we created an entry report. We posted it into a final tax report, and this showed us how much money we either owe to the government or how much money we can claim from the government. And we discussed the lock dates and the accidental entries. So again, for lock dates, this will prevent any future invoices or vendor bills from affecting our tax period that we just closed. So that concludes on how to file VAT in Odoo. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out. My email again is bakh@odoo.com. We also have a lot of content at odoo.com/slides. You can find different videos on our accounting software and all our other applications. So thank you so much for joining this webinar, and I look forward to you in the next webinars. Done.